Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Wiener, the honor of representing San Francisco and Northern San Mateo County in the state Senate. I am joined here today by my colleague and legislative partner, Senator Aisha Wahab from the Hayward-Fremont area. Welcome, Senator. In addition, we are joined by a number of Bay Area stakeholders, great coalition, to announce new legislation, Senate Bill 1031, which will authorize a 2026 regional Bay Area ballot measure to fund, stabilize, modernize, and integrate our region's public transportation system, as well as to improve the quality of our
There is
roads.
no business as usual while Gaza is under attack.
We're here today
demand a
because we
permanent
need to keep
ceasefire
the Bay
and
Area
end to U.S.
moving.
aid to Israel.
We're announcing legislation to advance a series
We
of
charge you
reforms
with genocide.
for public
Reader,
transportation.
you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Free, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free.
We're here today because we need to keep the Bay Area moving. We're announcing legislation to advance a series of reforms to public transportation and then to authorize a ballot measure to provide much-needed funding for all forms of transportation throughout the Bay Area for the 2026 ballot. This legislation represents the first step in what is sure to be a long journey. We look forward to working with stakeholders from across the Bay Area, including transit operators, cities and counties, labor, the business community, and transportation advocates. We all need to be unified to get this done. Our public transportation agencies are struggling to maintain service levels, and riders are increasingly asking for reforms to modernize and integrate these systems. Meanwhile, the quality of our roads has deteriorated, and many roads are not safe for all users, including pedestrians, cyclists, and transit riders. To keep our communities connected, our families connected, and our region connected, and to ensure that the Bay Area can meet its climate goals and keep our economy going, we need to have as strong a transportation system as possible. We know that transit ridership continues to increase, but our transit systems continue to struggle. Last year, we were able to obtain $400 million to help stabilize the operations of our public transportation system. But if we don't do anything more, that money will run out in 2026, and we will see significant service cuts. The legislation we're proposing today will authorize the Bay Area to go to the ballot with a revenue measure to fund transit operations, transit capital, and improvements to our roads and freeways. In addition, the legislation will require the creation of a network manager to ensure integration of our systems, fare integration, scheduling integration, etc. In addition, as Senator Wahab will discuss in further detail, it will require a study of the potential of consolidating some or all of our public transportation agencies. This is about stabilizing funding and having not just what our public transportation system has been, but the most modern and integrated and improved public transportation possible. With that said, I now want to turn it over to my colleague, Senator Aisha Wahab.
Thank you for being here today. I'm Senator Aisha Wahab, representing the East and South Bay. Many of you are aware that I've championed a unified Bay Area transit, aiming to merge 27 agencies into a streamlined service across the 9 Bay Area counties. Now in California's fiscal challenges, which threaten deep transit cuts, I believe we have an opportunity to improve, reform, and expand transit efficiencies for the benefit of all Bay Area residents. My vision is not just to aim for repairs, but for a system that connects us deeper in the Bay Area. But one day in the future, to places like Tahoe and Monterey, it should not be out of our reach. Today, SB 1031, sorry. We have a lot of numbers, right? 1031, is setting the stage for the transformation. SB 1031, a bill I'm proud to say is a joint effort with Senator Scott Wiener and I, ensures that our investments deliver technical innovation and continuity services, evaluates the benefits of merging our transit agencies and the best practices of a unified Bay Area transit system that can last generations. I envision a Bay Area where a top-tier, eco-conscious transit system is not the norm, but the standard. The Bay Area deserves better. We deserve a world-class transit system that sets the standard for safety, speed, efficiency, affordability, and technological innovations directly enhancing daily travel. Our goal is a network that contributes to our environmental objectives by minimizing vehicle use and serving every member of our community. Imagine a Bay Area where the journey is as cutting edge as the destination. That's what we're making a reality in this bill. This bill is more than a promise. It's a practical blueprint for overhauling our regional transit system, ensuring long-term sustainability and accessibility. With SB 1031, we're not just dreaming, we're doing. We're building a legacy of transit that will carry the Bay Area forward. I want all of us to step it up for the Bay Area. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
I would now like to bring up Supervisor David Canepa from San Mateo County, who is also a commissioner on the Metropolitan Transportation Commission.
Great, thank you so much. Let's give it up for Senator Wiener. Thank you, Senator Wiener. And I want to also thank Senator Wahab. Thank you for your leadership. I also want to recognize real quick from MTC, our CEO, Andy Premier. Thank you, Ian, and thank you, everyone, for being here. Make no mistake about it. The transformation through this bill is really going to impact the end rider. Really making sure that they're able to go through the system seamlessly. There's no way, shape, or form that we shouldn't prioritize the end user. This bill clearly does that. Let me say this. When we look at transit throughout the region, we're going to have to look at the system as a whole. There's accountability, there's all these provisions that are really, really critical in making sure that we move in the appropriate manner. But if we do not focus on the rider, and focusing on the rider is critically important. The MTC moved forward a couple months ago in support of this particular bill and concept. We support this bill. We're with Senator Wiener. We're with Senator Wahab. We want to make sure that this gets before the voters in 2026. And the reason is, when you look at poll after poll in the region, one of the most important issues that comes up is transportation and what it means for people. And so when we look at this particular bill as we move forward, as we look at the infrastructure, whether it's bike paths, whether it's other things to move people forward, we have to look at it with the lens. I make my plea to the other legislators outside of Senator Wiener. And Senator Wiener, I've known you for 20 years. And the one thing that I've always appreciated about you is your courage. And the courage to take this issue. And it's not just a San Francisco issue, right? Not just a San Francisco issue. This is a 9 Bay Area county issue. And my colleagues, whether it's from the North Bay down to the South Bay, they're supportive of this measure. We're looking forward to this being successful, and we're looking forward to be hand in hand with Senator Wahab as well as Senator Wiener. Thank you very much.
I'd now like to bring up Tilly Chang, the Executive Director of the San Francisco County Transportation Authority, followed by Jeff Tumlin, the Director of Transportation in San Francisco.
Good morning, everyone, and happy National Transit Appreciation Day! What a fitting day to gather together. Thank you to all our transit operators for your dedication and hard work to keep the Bay Area moving. On behalf of the San Francisco County Transportation Authority, I'd like to add our sincere thanks to Senators Wiener and Wahab and to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission for your efforts to stabilize transit in the Bay Area and to help it thrive as a more connected, rider-focused system with SB 1031. We would also like to thank the Senate Select Committee on Bay Area Public Transportation for its work. Thank you all for your commitment to a healthy public transit system for our region. As the American Public Transit Association motto goes, where transit goes, community grows. And the same can also be said for transit's benefits for our regional economy, social equity, and accessibility, as well as environmental sustainability. This is why 2/3 of our local transportation sales tax, Prop L, is dedicated to transit. In San Francisco, we're investing in fast, reliable buses, electric and train control and maintenance facilities for Muni, as well as core capacity, new elevators and escalators, and fare gates for BART. We're also funding transit priority and wayfinding and elevator attendants right here at these downtown stations to welcome riders back. We're also supporting regional connectivity with partners of electrified Caltrain, Bay Ferry, and the Portal. These investments in transit operators' efforts are working. BART's customer satisfaction has risen to 81% in their latest survey, and Muni ridership is over 70% of pre-COVID levels. SB 1031 will allow us to double down on our commitment to transit and do even more for riders and to attract new ones, supporting San Francisco and the Bay Area's economic recovery and transforming transit in this region to ensure a more reliable, efficient, and regionally connected system for all. We're excited to collaborate with you all on this critical legislation, and thank you again for everyone's support.
Good morning, my name is Jeffrey Tumlin. I am the Executive Director of the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency. Decades ago, BART, Muni, and other transit agencies had our financial models based on commuters traveling from the suburbs and outer neighborhoods to jobs in downtown San Francisco. That financial model didn't work pre-COVID, and it is certainly not working now. So we are incredibly grateful to Senators Wiener and Wahab for proposing legislation that could rebuild financial models for transit agencies throughout the region. But we also know that we need more than just money. We need to focus on our riders. We need to build trust. Here at Muni, we spent the last 4 years focused, despite our collapsing resources, in making Muni fast, frequent, reliable, clean, and safe. Our work at Fix-It Week, which just wrapped up yesterday, has succeeded in reducing delays in the subway by over 75%. Our speed and reliability improvements on the surface have meant that even though ridership is only at about 35% at our downtown stations, our 22 Fillmore and 49 Van Ness lines, thanks to transit priority improvements, are at over 130% of pre-COVID ridership, and we are doing more. We know that transit is not just about getting commuters to jobs, it is about reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. It is about advancing opportunity for people with the fewest opportunities. It's about supporting economic recovery throughout our region. And we also know that it is about coming together as a region, which is why all of the general managers for all of the operators throughout the region have met every single Monday morning at 9 a.m. to talk about how do we remove fare penalties for people transferring? How do we integrate our wayfinding system? How do we make time transfers work across all agencies? And how do we deliver on a system that feels and looks like one system oriented around our riders? Thank you so much, Senators Wiener and Wahab.
Thank you. I now want to bring up Emeryville City Council member John Bowders.
Good morning. I did not expect to come over to San Francisco and need my sunglasses, but that was a nice treat. My name is John Bowders. I'm a council member in Emeryville. I'm a bus rider, and I came over here on BART this morning. I'm also the chair of the Alameda County Transportation Commission. We're very grateful to Senators Wiener and Wahab for authoring Senate Bill 1031. You've heard a lot about what it's going to do to improve connectivity, to improve opportunities for us to enhance and improve the transit system and the experience for riders all across the Bay Area. And I'm here to share with you that on behalf of those of us in Alameda County, which is the heartbeat of the working side of the Bay, those who come from Alameda County in the East Bay, we also want to share in what the rest of the 9 counties here in the Bay Area deserve, which is a transit system that is clean, safe, functional, accessible, and works for everybody. We're very committed to the principles outlined in Senate Bill 1031. And I would just note that this is really important to vulnerable community members too. It's really important. Transit is a lifeline. It is the way in which many people who otherwise are deprived of equitable access to means for getting to work, to healthcare, to see their family and loved ones, for children to get to school. This is a really critical system that has to have an equitable investment. And at Alameda County Transportation Commission, our priorities are number 1, safety, number 2, equity, number 3, economic opportunity, and number 4, climate action. And all of those things are going to be addressed through Senate Bill 1031. I want to thank the leaders of the Metropolitan Transportation Commission for their partnership with all of the local commissions across the Bay Area. And on behalf of Alameda County's Transportation Commission and its members, I hope you have a sunny day. All right.
Thank you, Councilman. We know that without workers, without labor, these systems don't run. The House of Labor builds these systems, and the House of Labor operates them. And we are so grateful to all of the workers who build and operate our transit system. And labor is a key part of this coalition for a brighter future for transit in the Bay Area. So I'd like to bring up John Arantes from SEIU 10-1.
Hi everybody, my name is John Arantes and I am SEIU 1021 BART chapter president. We proudly represent 60,000 workers in Northern California, including those workers at BART and SFMTA. First, I want to thank Senator Wiener and Senator Wahab for their leadership, support of workers and public transportation in the Bay Area. During the height of the pandemic, our transit workers never stopped serving the Bay Area. Our workers at BART make sure the trains run every morning to get essential workers to their jobs and keep systems safe and clean for those who have no alternative means of transportation. While federal relief dollars kept these agencies operating, workers also mobilized to advance several systems, rebuilding projects, and took advantage of reduced service hours. These actions saved BART millions of dollars and meant projects were completed ahead of schedule, improving patron safety and system reliability. Now, as ridership stabilizes and begins to grow, our workers have been implementing new initiatives that have improved the experience of all riders, from the commuter, leisure traveler, and the first-time user. BART passenger satisfaction ratings are above 80% for the first time in a decade. BART has hired more cleaners than ever and is just about full staff, allowing for trains to be cleaned twice as often, and 66% increase in the number of deep cleaning crews at our most heavily used stations. However, all this progress will come to a screeching halt if BART's long-term budget shortfalls are not addressed. We thank the state officials here today and our great Bay Area representatives for their leadership in providing short-term support last year with preventive service and staff cuts. However, without additional revenue stream, BART could be forced to implement devastation and potentially irrecoverable service cuts and layoffs of highly skilled workforce within the next couple of years. Cut in the transit force will leave capital projects unable. New trains can only be put into service with skilled technicians. Access and safety projects will be shelved, and all the work to improve the quality of ridership and effects and it will lead to a backslide into a death spiral for these agencies. SAU 1021 is here today to support Senate Bill 1031, which will maintain a public transit system and allow them to make continued improvements while adjusting to post-COVID ridership. A thriving, equitable California relies on public transit. We look forward to working with the legislature and the MTC on an initiative to allow our transit systems to thrive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now want to bring up two of our residents who are very connected to our transit system. Conchita Chu, an Oakland resident who coaches seniors on using transit, and Leanne Chang, a San Francisco resident.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trolita Chu. I'm a travel trainer for the United Seniors of Oakland and Alameda County. And what I do is I train seniors to get to and from where they have to go. A lot of seniors aren't driving anymore because they've changed the roads so bad, and it's been really hard. And as a pedestrian and a transit driver, mostly pedestrian, I want to let you know that the seniors are going back to work, and a lot of them, since they're having issues with the Coliseum, have picked jobs over here in the city to work for different concession stands. And at night when they leave, there is no transit for them to work. So I want you guys to, not just talk about it, but be about getting transit on time. And like I said, labor is a big part of our community and getting our seniors back to work. I represent over 276,000 seniors in Alameda County who now ride the bus. A lot of them now ride the bus and have given up their cars. So I'm asking you again, don't talk about it, be about it. Let's get this transit on the road. Let's get this transit running, and let's please keep this transit clean. Thank you.
Good morning. Happy National Transit Employee Appreciation Day. My name is Leanne Chang, and I don't have a driver's license. At first, it was because I left a troubled home at a young age and didn't have a car to practice on, and over time, I remained car-free by choice. Recently, I got injured and couldn't walk for a few months, and after being homebound and on crutches and slow, it was transit, combined with an e-scooter, that opened the world back up to me. Transit means access to jobs, healthcare, school, recreation, shopping, and community. Here in San Francisco, Muni has recently invested in the 38 bus line on Geary Boulevard to improve its speed and reliability. I live out in the avenues, and this bus brings me here to the heart of the city in under half an hour. The bus helps me say yes to more trips, day or night, any weather, able or disabled. So I support this legislation to enable transit funding, not only to prevent cuts from individual lines like the 38, but to expand fast and seamless transit throughout the Bay Area. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, I want to bring up two of our great advocates, Adina Levin from the Advocacy Director of Seamless Bay Area, and Jaime Viloria, the board co-chair of San Francisco Transit Riders.
So it's really exciting to be here and to hear from transit riders tell the stories about how our people, Bay Area people, depend on transit to get around and relieve congestion and move and get to jobs and get school, and demand that transit is fast and frequent and well coordinated and affordable. And it's really exciting to be here with the people in the transit agencies who've been making so much progress in recent years in making transit faster and more reliable and more coordinated. And it's really exciting to be here with the political leaders that are stepping up and bringing forward legislation to provide the funding to ensure that transit can continue and get better and be faster and more frequent and affordable and well-connected and safe. And this is a big challenge for our region. It's also an opportunity for our region. We're at a pivot point, and this is something that can move us onto a trajectory of having that vision of a fast and frequent and well-coordinated, seamless, rider-friendly system that can keep us moving, that can address our climate goals, our housing goals, our social equity goals, and be able to deliver that for the San Francisco Bay Area. So thank you.
Hey everybody, let's give it up for everybody that's here. I need your energy. Good morning. My name is Jaime Viloria, and I'm the co-chair for San Francisco Transit Riders. It's the largest member-led transit advocacy group in San Francisco. But first off, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the thousands of transit workers because today is Transit Workers Appreciation Day. So let's give it up for our transit workers. Thank you so much for all the work you do, making sure our transit system works. I would also like to thank State Senator Wiener and all our legislators, electeds, and public transit officials for your continued efforts in addressing the funding shortfalls that we have today in public transportation. It often feels like us transit advocates and activists are on our own, but it warms my heart and inspires my spirit to see these actions being done, and SB 1031 is a great step in that right direction. I would also like to thank all the transit advocates, especially our partners in Voices for Public Transportation, for continuing to tirelessly advocate for better public transit and keeping up the fight for equitable and sustainable public transportation. Thank you for leading and keeping the concept of authorizing legislation and a regional transformational transportation funding measure at the forefront of our legislators' minds. San Francisco Transit Riders, like many others, believe in abundant, accessible, affordable, reliable, and safe public transit for all. San Francisco Transit Riders supports SB 1031 and looks forward to working with Senator Wiener and our electeds in making the best bill it can possibly be for transit riders across the region. I'm a community organizer just out here in the Tenderloin. When we had to fight for our transit back during the pandemic, I made it a mission to not have to go back to that again. I made a personal mission to not have to always fight for transit to bring it back. We need to keep what we have. We need to see beyond the fiscal cliff and have a vision where a transit system that is funded progressively and is well invested in as much as we do with highway funding. I'd argue we need more funding for transit. What better way to show recovery from the pandemic shutdown than a funded, functioning, reliable, and transformational direction of expansion, integration, accessibility, and improvement of our Bay Area transit systems. I know that's a lot of adjectives, but I also want to highlight that in the space we are in right now is the Holiday Plaza. And I just want to point out, my friend up there, Luis, are you up there? Luis, and, they're down here, Michelle down here. When we're thinking about transit, we should also think about our folks, seniors, disabled people, the people that need transit the most. That's how we should be designing our systems. And SB 1031 is a step in that direction. Fund our operations so we can find a way to improve our transit system across the Bay. It's something that we need to continue doing to meet our goals in climate, to meet access for a lot of our people. And essentially, it's the best way to show that we care about everybody in this region. We need access to all our transit systems. We need to go to places. We need to quit looking at that fiscal cliff and make a bridge across that cliff to something that is sustainable for our future. So thank you so much for everybody for being here, and let's make our transit the best.
Okay, that concludes the program. If there are any questions from the press, I know there are a lot of people viewing online, but folks who are here.
How many counties are going to be involved in the? How many counties are going to be involved in the ballot measure?
For the 9 Bay Area counties, the 9 Bay Area counties.
And would there be an expiration date on the measure, or is that something that's?
That'll be so. This authorizes the Bay Area to go to the ballot for a Bay Area-wide measure, and that'll be crafted locally in terms of the exact scope of the work running parameters. But I also want to be clear that today's introduction is just the beginning. Senator Wahab and I are leading this effort, but we have an entire Bay Area delegation of 27 members, and this will be a very much a group effort, and including all the stakeholders in the region. And so those will all be topics of discussion.
Sure. And I had a question for both of you. Consolidation means different things to, depending on who you ask, and just wanted to get your take here, Senator. What kind of forms of consolidation did you have in mind when you introduced the bill that's now being included in the package, and what do you hope to achieve from that effort?
Definitely. So consolidation means different things to different people, right? This particular piece in this particular bill is to assess what consolidation really should look like for the 9 Bay Area counties, the 27 different agencies. So many people think that consolidation just means one agency, right? That's not necessarily the case, right? We want to make sure that we are delivering the best for the rider first and foremost. And if that study means 5 agencies, if it means 9 agencies, if it means 1 agency, we will know once the data and the assessment is complete, right? After this assessment, we want to see the proposals that are made for best practices that really fit our region. And again, I always joke with Senator Wiener here that the city and county of San Francisco doesn't necessarily represent the entire Bay Area, right? I represent the East Bay and South Bay. We have completely different needs in regards to what does transit look like for us when we're trying to prioritize the riders, right? We don't necessarily have the highest density. We don't necessarily have things like this. So that particular assessment will actually let us know what's best for those particular regions. And then as the region as a whole, what should be the move forward? And that will all be done in discussion with the stakeholders, with labor, with riders, with every single individual that we can talk to really get the feedback from a neutral body. That is the goal of this assessment, and I think that's something that we need the data to make the decision. That's the best move forward.
Question for us? Yes.
I guess in your opinion, maybe specific.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, even before the pandemic, a number of our transit agencies had structural operating deficits. I want to be clear. This is not just about the pandemic. We have never funded our public transportation agencies in a way that will allow them to fully succeed so that we can truly have a mode shift where it's not about forcing people out of cars, it's about giving people amazing options so that people will choose to take public transportation. And we never funded these agencies to the level that we can expect that kind of just the best possible, most expansive, reliable, modern service. The pandemic, of course, made the problem worse, and these systems are rebounding from the pandemic. But the pandemic cast a light on the sort of unstable and inadequate funding. So we were able to delay that reckoning by a few years through the work that we did in the budget in last year. But we need to have long-term stable funding, and I think that is true with so many of our transit agencies. We also need to make sure that they are operationally integrating better. As Senator Wahab talked about 27 agencies, and we need to look at the potential for consolidation of what makes sense. But in addition to that, we need to make sure that whether or not agencies are consolidated, that they are better integrated. It's not intuitive for the rider right now how to transfer necessarily from one to another. The schedules aren't coordinated. We've made big improvements in Clipper, but there's more work to do in fare integration and so on and so forth. So it's about the funding, but also I think the voters and the residents, the Bay Area understands the need to fund basic public services like transit, but people are also demanding better, more coordinated, more reliable, and safer service, and that's what we want to accomplish.
Scott.
So along those lines, do you anticipate if this passes, we'll get rid of the incredibly awkward transfer between BART and Muni right behind you?
I hope so. I mean, I want to, again, I don't want to prejudge every detail. This is going to be a long process, and there are different ways of doing it. But, you know, we have situations like, for example, some of the BART Caltrain transfers. I don't want to pick on any agencies. There are a lot of agencies where there's sometimes coordination, but sometimes that coordination should be better, so that when people are transferring, they don't have to wait a long time for the next train or bus.
Well, how about the iron bars on the staircase that separate the two systems? You think those might get removed?
That's a question for the agencies, but we want better integration.
Okay.
Just, Sarah, you know, the voters in Fairfield, Napa, you know, where there isn't that, you know, robust transit network that we see here. What can we expect as far as a benefit, you know, ballot measure?
I said earlier, right? And so one of the things that both Scott and I are very interested in is, again, prioritizing the rider and the needs of the rider. That, you know, the issues that affect them differ greatly depending on which county, city, so forth. The honest truth is, if you take a look into consolidation and what Scott said in regards to integration, that's the primary driver, right? We want to make sure that, again, we are, you know, making sure that public transit is the most viable option for anybody, number one. Number two is the fact that when we take a look at the different regions and so forth, most people are focused on ensuring that the transit agencies operate where there's already high density and making sure that, you know, riders who are currently riding continue to ride. But this effort in regard to fully funding transportation, number one, making sure integration works seamlessly across all agencies, right, as well as it allows us to look forward into the future, as I said earlier, in regards to if there is some sprawl, that we move further and further and deeper into these Bay Area communities so people can avoid using their vehicle. That's the only way we can start to actually really tackle our climate crisis and also make sure that, again, transit is the most viable option for anybody and everybody, regardless of where they're at, what their needs are, or what their socioeconomic background is. That is the goal of this bill, and of course, there's a lot of stakeholders. And the length of this bill, if you really take a look at it, the study hopefully starts in 2025. It moves on. The ballot measure hits the ballots in 2026, and I just really want to put that into context. And then eventually, a year after that, if we receive this, if this ballot measure wins and passes, you know, we have a technical assistance fund that also will help, you know, integrate these agencies, make sure that there is seamless coordination and so forth. And again, the stakeholders have a lot of say in this, and we want to leave it up to the subject matter experts, but we want to craft something that works for everybody, where there is some unity and a direction moving forward, and that's the goal of this bill.
I would say we are seeing more transit in the non-urban areas. I mean, the smart train, right, in Marin and Sonoma counties, and we want for the people for bus service in suburban areas, where we are going to see more housing density because of some of the changes in the state housing law. For the people who ride those buses, that's a lifeline for them, and we want more people to feel comfortable riding those buses. Okay, any other final questions?
Are you going to keep the bus friendly and cleaner? They're really dirty.
Yes, that we are, I mean, there's a real, we very much understand that it's not good enough just to have the buses running and the trains running. They need to be clean and safe, and people need to feel comfortable running them. As we heard, BART is doing a lot more deep cleaning. We need to make sure people feel safe and comfortable running transit. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to do a picture now. So, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks everyone. Let's just tighten up this one.